After 12 years in power, Benjamin Netanyahu has been ousted as Israel's prime minister after a new coalition government won a vote of confidence in parliament. It will be led for 2 years by the right-wing nationalist Naftali Bennett, and as part of a power-sharing deal, he will then hand over to the centrist Yair Lapid for a further 2 years. Here's our Middle East correspondent, Tom Bateman.
They've waited for 12 years. In this divided country, for the people who wanted to oust their most enduring leader, now it's their moment. It took a chaotic vote in Israel's parliament to get there. With the count about to start, Mr. Netanyahu makes one last stand. Iran is celebrating because they understand there will be a weak and slack government, he says. The opposition in Israel will have a clear and strong voice.
We'll be back soon.
The new coalition scrapes in by just a single vote. It was all over for Israel's combative, often controversial leader, one who leaves an indelible legacy. Benjamin Netanyahu rose rallying Israelis against the Oslo peace deals with the Palestinians.
There's a battle for Jerusalem.
He was a figurehead for the right. Supporters saw him as Mr. Security, but opponents despised his tough brand of nationalism. He won successive elections, but he split voters, and a trial for corruption, claims he denies, left him increasingly isolated. Israel's new PM is Mr. Netanyahu's former aide, Naftali Bennett, a nationalist who opposes a future Palestinian state. He called for unity, but laid into those he said were tearing the country apart. After 2 years, he'll hand over to the centrist Yair Lapid.
How long will the coalition last?
Israel's new coalition spans the left to the nationalist right, and for the first time, an Arab-Israeli party.
Naftali Bennett now has to lead the broadest coalition in Israeli history, and that could make it one of the most unstable. He has his work cut out just to govern.
They have a crisis to deal with after Israel's recent war with Hamas in Gaza and violent division inside Israel. Fears are rising of new tensions again. But this is a moment of Israeli history, as the throne is pulled away from the politician some called the King of Israel. Tom Bateman, BBC News, Jerusalem.